Today on ZZZ Made Easy, I want to talk about swapping to your next agent early with the risk and benefits of doing so. I'm not talking about quick assist or perfect assist, just the good old regular swap button. Zenless Zone Zero allows you to swap to your next agent while your previous one is still in the field attacking. It's a way to provide some player skill expression by being able to pump out more actions faster. Generally, it's a good thing to do, however, it's not as simple as pressing more buttons equals better gameplay. On the topic of mashing buttons, you should know if an agent is lingering on the field after you swap, then you can't swap back to them until they leave. If you keep mashing swap, you're just going to alternate between your two remaining agents. If you have a button to swap backwards in the team order, then the same thing will happen. Now, besides doing extra damage by early swapping, your first agent's attacks will also continue to build up daze and anomaly. However, if you swap early, the first agent's attacks will no longer trigger chain attacks or trigger an anomaly effect. Now, you need to trigger the chain attack with your other agents, which may take extra time. If your first agent was the only attribute for that anomaly, then you need to cycle back to them to trigger it. As an example, Ben is an agent with very long animations, making him a prime candidate to do early swaps with. His EX special counter does good daze buildup, and if you just want that stun, then I need to make sure I don't swap early. This is a case where maybe swapping early is a downside. However, we can use this feature to our advantage. Let's say I don't want to trigger the chain attack because I want Lucy to use her EX special to buff the team's attack before the stun phase. Well, if I know Ben is close to triggering a stun, then I do an early swap. I then use Lucy's EX special to trigger the chain attack. At the same time, Lucy provides her attack buff, so now everyone's ready to go before DPS time. We can apply the same idea to anomalies. Piper's EX special has a super long ending animation. It's very tempting to swap early, but that may prevent her from triggering Assault. If you want the extra daze buildup, you may want to stay on Piper, then swap after. With that said, you could save the anomaly trigger for the stun phase. Anomaly damage is affected by the stun multiplier, so if you're super close to a stun, but Assault is going to proc before, then an early swap can actually sort of save it. This concept can also be used if you want to control how disorder is triggered. Assault does its damage in one instance, but its lingering effect grants extra daze buildup. That's kind of useless on an already stunned enemy. Using Rena as an example, I'll have her apply electric damage and early swap before shock triggers. Piper will trigger Assault first. While the Assault debuff is still active, I swap to Rena to trigger Shock. This procs disorder and Shock stays on the enemy, which can be used for other effects. Anomalies are complicated, and I'm not saying it's going to be practical to actually implement this in-game. It's just an example to showcase how to control when anomalies are triggered via early agent swaps. While canceling long animations with a swap is fun to do and looks cool, it's not always safe. If your first agent lingers on the field for too long, they can take damage. To prevent this from happening, the agent must be doing a move that gives them invulnerability. For example, EX specials generally grant iframes, so they're the safest bet if the animation is long. Now, typically, this situation is solved by doing a perfect assist. Your first agent is perfectly safe while you swap to your next. This isn't the same as regular early swapping, but the ideas we discussed before will apply. For example, if Piper is about to trigger Assault, but I perfect assist an attack, even if Piper continues to hit the enemy, Assault isn't going to trigger. Essentially, only the active agent can trigger things like chain attacks or anomalies. On a related topic, something I didn't cover in my perfect assist video was that the perfect dodge swap that occurs on red flash attacks doesn't protect your first agent if they're in the middle of an attack. However, like we just discussed, if they were doing a move with iframes, then they'll be safe. Basically, you do need to be careful of red flashes. If your first agent is not doing an animation, they're going to swap out safely. Otherwise, they will take damage unless you're doing an invulnerable move. Early swapping in ZZZ is typically used as a sort of animation cancel since agents linger on the field to finish their attacks. The perfect assist system complements this by protecting your first agent if they're being attacked. Both are fun to do, but there are times where you may want to stick with your current agent to trigger something like a chain attack or anomaly. It's also good to know when swapping early is safe. If your team is dying but you felt like you weren't getting hit, then perhaps it's cause they actually did get hit while you were swapping to your next agent. That's all I got for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.